When the pandemic first hit last March, Lowell High School in San Francisco was one of the first schools to close and send students home. But now its doors are back open for the new school year. Lowell High School's principal, Joe Ryan Dominguez, is joining us now to talk about their plans for the year. Principal Dominguez, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It's an exciting week for students and educators across the board. Tell us what it's been like preparing for this week.
Well, after the last year and a half that we've had, our students deserve to be back on campus, and our staff and I are so excited to have them. It's just been a relief to be back on campus amongst one another. And if you can see our halls right now, our teachers are hustling and bustling, making sure that their classrooms are all set up and ready to go. All of our windows are open. We have air purifiers in the rooms that don't have windows. We are just doing everything we can to be ready for day one on Monday.
And what can parents rather and students expect from this school year?
Well, just a lot of cooperation, right? We're a community of over 2,700 students, over 100 staff, and so it's no one person's responsibility to make sure that we're following the safety protocols in reopening. So I'm asking that every single one of us help each other out with the safety and needs, of coming back to school in a time when there's still so much uncertainty. So. Masking up, making sure that our noses and our mouths are covered at all times in the day. And the only time that we should be taking them off is when we're outside eating lunch. Making sure that we're washing our hands thoroughly anytime that we are leaving the bathroom or even between classes, and just making sure that we're working together and reporting, anything that needs to happen around the campus. And
sorry, go ahead.
And making sure that before anyone comes to the campus or to Lowell, that they're asking themselves 3 questions, self-screening, that our families and students and our staff are all familiar with at this point.
Now, I was going to say, I remember when I was in high school, that was an era for kids to, they're sassy, they have a little bit of attitude, they kind of want to do their own thing. But I also know that students are excited to get back to the classroom despite whatever is expected of them when it comes to these health guidelines and the safety protocols. What have you seen in terms of your students coming back? Obviously, they're going to be the students that are complying, and all students are complying, but are you kind of seeing a little bit of, resistance or not wanting to do it, or is it just an overall sense of excitement that they're just like, whatever it's going to take for us to kind of get back together into that communal setting?
All I've seen are students on board to help each other out, because they understand that even though the virus doesn't truly affect students as much as it does adults, that we are a community of both kids and adults, and say that they want to be safe. They want to feel as if they're contributing to the greater good as well. Especially after the last 18 months that they've had being shut in, they just want to be around their friends, and the teachers want to see them as well. I have seen no resistance at all.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, Lowell was one of the first schools to shut down due to a COVID case. Is there any anxiety or stress of any sort with regard to the Delta variant? You guys are all following the protocols, but unfortunately with vaccination rates and all that, we are still seeing the Delta variant kind of make its way through the Bay Area. Is there any anxiety on the part of the students and the educators with regard to this variant, and hopefully it just doesn't make its way through the school, but is there any skepticism, hesitation, anxiety, or anything of that nature?
I think there is, and that's natural. I mean, we started 18 months ago just not knowing too much about the virus and what was going to happen, and so that created a lot of scare, especially when we had to shut down. But with the benefit of the experience and everything that we've learned over the last year and a half, I think we're more prepared. We understand what the virus does and how to keep ourselves keep ourselves safe. There's still a little bit of anxiety, but we're going to keep promoting the vaccine to our students and our staff, and hopefully they all get vaccinated before we start the year.
It must have been a hard decision to make. We've been speaking to educators all week, and I think that as educators, to be an effective educator, people are very passionate about teaching their students and being present and even physically present to provide an environment in which a student would thrive, when it comes to their education. It must have been a difficult decision for the school to shut down the way it did, when all of that happened back in March.
It sure was. Teachers thrive with that interaction that they have in front of students, and they did a fantastic job over distance learning, but it just wasn't the same. And the data shows that as well. We need students in the room in front of their teachers learning. But I will say that, you know, even though it was a tough decision, when you run a school, first and foremost, it's the safety and welfare of our students and staff that comes first. And so, you know, we made the right call. We did what we had to do at that time.
Absolutely. Now, Principal Dominguez, what are you looking forward to most? I feel like we always talk to students and you know what they're looking forward to. What are you looking forward to as the leader of Lowell High School, as the person, you know, that educators and students and parents turn to? What are you looking forward to most for this academic year?
I'm looking forward to new beginnings. My background in education came because I was a student activities coordinator, so I love the extracurricular opportunities that students have and really connecting what they're learning in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and all the leadership. So when seeing assemblies and other opportunities for students to interact, I'm really excited for that, and to be able to do that while fixing a lot of the equity issues that we've experienced in SFUSD and at Lowell. We have a lot of work to do, but what this pandemic taught us is that we can have new beginnings and really utilize our technology to get the job done. I'm super excited about that.
And a question I enjoy asking when we're interviewing, you know, just school leaders this week is, what is your message for your students and faculty, staff, educators, everyone on campus? What's your message for them?
We're gonna go slow at the start. We've all been apart for very long, so just take it easy. We're just gonna remember what it's like to be in person. No stress for the first week of school. Ask questions, meet new people, and just remember to be safe. The learning will happen. We're just gonna take the first week just to remember what that's like.
Absolutely. Well, Principal Dominguez, we really appreciate you giving us your time. Good luck with this academic year. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.